A very good morning to all. Today we are going to start with the fourth chapter, and the name of the chapter is Adaptations in Plants. So let me ask you one thing. So have you heard about the word adaptation? So do you know what is the meaning of adaptation? So let me give you an example first. Imagine you're moving to a new city. So you're moving to a new city or to a new country. So when you are there first, you find it very difficult. Maybe because you're missing your family, or maybe because of the climatic condition in that place, or maybe because of food, or maybe because of water. So you find it difficult to adjust in that place. But what happens? But time progress, you get adjusted or you get adapted to the environment you live. So that is adaptation. Adaptation is the process by which a body gets adapted to an environment, is an adaptation. So in this chapter, we will be learning about adaptations in plants. The special features, the body features that help the plant to live comfortably in its place. So that is what we are going to learn in this chapter. So let's see once again what is adaptation. So what is adaptation? The body features and habits that help a living thing to live in its natural environment is called as adaptation. The body features that helps a living thing to live in its natural environment. That is called adaptation. So we are going to learn about adaptation in plants. So let me ask you another question. So do you know where do these plants grow? So we can see plants everywhere, right? So plants grow everywhere around us. Or we can say plants grow everywhere on earth. So plants grow on land as well as in water. So do you know what do we call for plants that grow on land? We call them terrestrial plants. Plants that grow on land are called terrestrial plants. And you can see some examples over here. Mango tree, rose, pumpkin plant, all these are terrestrial plants. Mango tree, it is a big plant. What about rose? Rose is a shrub. So what is special about a shrub? It has a hard and woody stem. It is not tall as a tree, which is medium sized. Then what about pumpkin? Pumpkin is a creeper. So you know what is a creeper? Creeper is a plant that grows along the ground. So there are plants which cannot grow straight. So such plants grow along the ground. So they are called creepers. So creepers, shrub, trees, all these are terrestrial plants. So what are terrestrial plants? Plants which grow on land are called as terrestrial plants. What about plants that live in water? Have you seen plants that live in water? Plants that grow in water? What about lotus, water lily? Where do they grow? They grow in water. And what do we call for plants that grow in water? So that is called aquatic plants. So the word aqua, you know what is the meaning of word aqua? Aqua means water. So plants that grow in ponds, lakes, rivers, all these are called aquatic plants. So plants grow on land as well as in water. And the plants that grow on land and water have special features that helps them to adapt or helps them to live comfortably in the place they live. Let us take an example of a cactus plant. So cactus plant is a terrestrial plant. So where it grows in desert. And you all know about desert. So it is a very hot and dry land. And these cactus plants have special features that helps them to live in this hot and dry desert. So coming to the adaptation in terrestrial plants. So let's learn about adaptation in terrestrial plants. In that, we are going to learn about adaptation in desert plants. How desert plants get adapted to the place they live. So desert. So what comes to your mind when you think of these desert? Desert means a very hot and dry land. a land area which is covered with sand. What about rain? There is very little rainfall. So what about the plants that live there? Plants that live there have special features that helps them to adapt with little rain. So now we are going to learn about cactus plant. So where do cactus plants live? Cactus plants live in desert. So let's learn about the special features of cactus plant that helps them to adapt or that makes them survive in the desert. So let me ask you one thing. What comes to your mind when you think about these cactus plant? So some of you might think of the thorns, right? The thorns or spines of cactus plant. So have you ever thought why these cactus plant have no leaves? So do you know why these cactus plant have no leaves? So where do these cactus plants live? They live in desert. And in order to survive in the hot and dry land, they have spines in place of leaves. So why do they have spines? In order to prevent loss of water. So every plant loses its water through leaves. So can a cactus plant afford to lose water? No. Why? Because it gets very little water. So the cactus plant cannot afford to lose water. So that in place of leaves, it has spines, which helps them to prevent loss of water. And the another thing, these spines helps them or protects them from animals. So have you heard about herbivorous animals? So what do these herbivorous animals eat? They eat plants. And these spines of the cactus plant protect themselves from herbivorous animals. That is about the spines on cactus plant. Coming to the next one, stem of cactus plant. Have you seen the stem of a cactus plant? So the cactus plant have thick stem. They have thick green stem. So where do these plants prepare food? So like every plant, these cactus plant also prepare food using photosynthesis. But in place of leaves, they have spines. So that they prepare food on its stem with the process of photosynthesis. So where do these cactus plant prepare food? They prepare food on its stem. Even there are cactus plant that stores food and water on its stem. Then what about the cactus plant is? These cactus plant stem has a waxy coating. You know why these stem have a waxy coating? In order to prevent the water from losing. In order to stop water from escaping. So can these cactus plant afford to lose water? No, because they get a very little water. So these plants cannot afford to lose water. So these stems, the cactus plant stems have a waxy coating. And where do they prepare food? They prepare food on its stem with the process of photosynthesis like any other plants. What about the roots of cactus plant? Cactus plants have root deep inside the soil. So they have longer roots which helps them to absorb or which helps them to collect water from larger areas. So they have longer roots deep inside the soil which helps them to collect water from larger areas. Then what about flowers? Have you seen the flowers of cactus plant? Even cactus plant is a flowering plant. So do you know when do these flowers bloom? So they bloom at night. So have you ever thought why these cactus plant bloom its flowers at night? Why? Because during daytime it is very hot. So what happens because of the heat of the desert? Because of the heat of the desert, the flowers could not survive during day. So that these flowers bloom during night. So these are some of the special features of cactus plant that helps them to survive in the desert. And these cactus plant absorbs plenty of water when it rains. And where do they store? They store in its stem. And they use this water. They survive on this water for the coming years. So these are some of the features of cactus plant that helps them to survive in the desert. So the cactus plant prepare food on its stem. Then they have longer roots which helps them to absorb water from larger areas. Then do they have leaves? No. But in place of leaves, what do they have? They have spines. So why do they have spines? They have spines in order to prevent the loss of water. Can they afford to lose water? No, because they get a very little water. So they do not afford to lose water. So in place of leaves, they have spines. Then we learnt about the flowers on cactus plant. These flowers bloom at night. So these are some of the features of cactus plant that helps them to survive in the desert. Take page number 37. In page number 37, there are two questions given. Tick the correct option. So I'll read out the question and you can tick the answer. Plants that grow in water are aquatic plants, terrestrial plants. So what is the answer? The answer is aquatic plants. Plants that grow in water are called as aquatic plants. What about the second one? Cactus plants are aquatic plants, terrestrial plants. Where do these cactus plants live? They live in desert. So they are terrestrial plants. In page number 38, two more questions are given there. Tick the correct option. Cactus plant make food in there. So where do they make food? Stems, roots. So where do they make food? They make food in their stems. Second one. In cactus, leaves are reduced to spines to two options are given. Store water, prevent loss of water. So what is the answer? Prevent loss of water. So they have spines in order to prevent loss of water. So this is about terrestrial plants. So what did we learn today? We learned about adaptation. We started with adaptations in plants. And we learned about what is adaptation. We learned about terrestrial plants and aquatic plants. And we learned about adaptation in desert plants. In that, we learned about adaptation in cactus plant. So I hope you all understood. You can just go through the textbook and just read it out once and you will get more idea about what we have learned today. So let's meet in the next class and we'll discuss a new topic. Till then, thank you.